have visual deficiency. I am a woman with dark brown hair, and I'm wearing a dark blue suit with a blue shirt.
It's an important event that provides us with an opportunity to highlight Telefilm's progress over the past year, and more importantly, to share what we hope to accomplish in the coming year. To start, I would like to invite Luana Harper-Shirt to offer us a blessing.
Ani, bojo, danse, welcome. Wase jomin gwen indigenous cause. Ujundo dem. Luena Jaganashi knows when. I am a Cree Anishinaabe, and I am currently on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe people. In between what is we know as Lake Guchiching and Lake Simcoe. And this is a traditional agreement. This land is called the Williams Treaty. And so I'd like to honor those people, our people here on this land. And in this time, we are in the time of the little spirit moon. And I'd like to send out blessings to the 4 directions. The first direction is the east, and that is Wabanong. And then Jawanong, the south. In the west is Negabiong. And then we go to the northern direction, which is Gawadenong. I'd like to ask those spirit helpers to come in and bless us all here. And go, when I reach up to the sky, it is that one, that Gijagong, and that's where the Creator sits. And so I'd like to ask the Creator to come and bless us here today. And last but not least is our Mother, the Earth. She is the one that has been taking care of each and every one of us from the beginning of time. So I ask her and all her helpers to come in and bless us all on this beautiful, beautiful winter day. So I thank you for allowing me to do this beautiful work for you today, and have a wonderful, beautiful meeting. Aho, miigwech, ai hai.
Thank you for this blessing, Luana. This presentation will be recorded and available on our platforms for your convenience. Today's event is available in its original bilingual version on LinkedIn, as well as in English and French with simultaneous translation, American Sign Language, Langue de Signes Québécoise interpretation, and closed captioning. Alternate links for the French-only and English-only streams are available in the event descriptions and live chat. Lors de la prochaine heure, 5 représentants de Telefilm
Over the next hour, 5 representatives of Telefilm will speak with you, and after that, we will go to a question and answer period. Please feel free to write your questions in the comment section of LinkedIn and YouTube. So first, the chair of the board, Mr. Robert Spickler, and then Francesca Accinelli, who's the interim executive director and CEO. René Bourdage, Vice President, Cultural Portfolio Management. Marie-Ève Mainville, Vice President, Talent and Culture. And finally, Kathy Wong, Vice President, Equity, Diversity and Inclusion and Official Languages. Mr. Spickler, the floor is now yours.
Merci, Loreto.
Thank you,
Mesdames,
Loreto.
Messieurs,
Ladies and
chers
gentlemen,
partenaires de
and
l'industrie
dear
de
partners
l'audiovisuel,
of the
à mon
great
tour de vous
audiovisual
souhaiter la
industry, it is now
bienvenue
my
à
turn
l'Assemblée
to
publique
welcome you to
annuelle
Telefilm's
2022 de
Canada,
Telefilm Canada.
Telefilm Canada's
Welcome
Annual
to
Public
Telefilm
Assembly
Canada's 2022
2022.
Annual Public Meeting. Au profit des personnes malvoyantes, je suis dans
For
les
the
bureaux de
benefit of the
Telefilm
visually
Canada.
impaired, I
Je
am
porte
at Telefilm
un
Canada's
chandail
offices.
noir à
I
col
am wearing a
roulé
black
sous un
shirt,
veston gris
turtleneck,
foncé.
and a
Je
dark
porte des
gray
lunettes
suit,
et j'ai
and
les
I
cheveux
wear
poivre et
glasses,
salés.
and I have salt and pepper hair.
L'Assemblée annuelle d'aujourd'hui
Today's
rencontre les
annual
principales
assembly,
réalisations de la
which will
société
report on
pour
the
l'année
society's key
financière
accomplishments for fiscal year
2021.
2021
Elle se tient à nouveau
2022.
en ligne,
It is
ce
once
qui nous
again being
permet de
held
rejoindre
online, which allows us
davantage
to
de
reach
gens à
more
la grandeur
people
du pays.
across the
Alors,
country.
merci d'être là.
So thank you for being there.
La dernière année a été
The
chargée et
past year
fertile pour
has
Telefilm.
been busy and
Les
productive
activités
for Telefilm.
régulières ont pu
We were able
reprendre
to
dans
resume our
une
regular
quasi-normalité.
activities in a quasi-normal
La
way.
pandémie s'est estompée
The
et nous
pandemic
sommes
has
passés
faded,
d'une
and we
gestion de
have moved from
crise à une
crisis
gestion de
management
risque.
to
Dans les
risk
circonstances,
management.
c'est
Under
là
the
un progrès
circumstances,
majeur.
this is a major progress.
Toutefois, Même si la situation
Even though
sanitaire
the
s'est
health
apaisée,
situation has calmed
d'autres
down,
défis sont
however,
apparus.
there are other
Les salles de
challenges which have
cinéma ne
emerged.
parvenaient pas à
Theaters
opérer
were
de
not
façon
able to
permanente.
reopen permanently.
Les festivals étaient toujours en
Festivals
mode
were still
hybride
operating in hybrid
et
mode,
plusieurs des tournages
and
connaissaient
several
des
film
retards
shoots
importants
were delayed
en raison du
significantly
nombre des cas
because of the
d'infection au
number
sein
of
des
cases of
équipes.
infection among
Tous ces
production
facteurs
crews.
ont aggravé la
All of these
situation
factors have
dans laquelle
aggravated the
l'industrie des
situation in
écrans
which
a
the
été plongée
industry
et dont
was
elle peine
plunged
à se relever.
and from which it still struggles
Dans
to
ce
recover.
contexte,
In
il
this
faut
context,
souligner et
we
témoigner
must
notre vive
acknowledge and express our
appréciation à
deep
l'État
appreciation
canadien
to the Government
pour
of
l'appui
Canada
soutenu qu'il a
for its
apporté au
continued
milieu de
support
l'audiovisuel.
of the audiovisual community.
The Government of Canada's increased funding to Telefilm has allowed us to proactively engage with the industry. For instance, the $105 million granted over a 3-year period, the Recovery and Reopening Funds, and the short-term compensation funds for Canadian productions have saved companies weakened by the health crisis. Overall, the short term has provided compensation coverage for more than $3.2 billion worth of audiovisual production budget. Le Fonds d'aide à la relance des salles
The
de
Theatre
cinéma
Recovery Fund
et le
and
Fonds
the Compensation
d'indemnisation
Fund
ont donc permis au
have
milieu de
therefore
l'audiovisuel de se
helped
stabiliser,
stabilize the
de
audiovisual
favoriser le
sector,
retour du public dans les
as well
salles
as bringing
et
audiences back into
d'encourager
theaters
les
and
exploitants de
encouraging
salles à présenter
exhibitors
des
to
films
show
canadiens.
Canadian films.
Je veux ici souligner combien le
I would
conseil
here wish to
d'administration
emphasize
a
the board's
apprécié la
appreciation
célérité
for the
avec
speed
laquelle
with
le
which
personnel de
Telefilm
Téléfilm
staff
a assuré la
distributed these
distribution de ces
funds.
fonds. One of Telefilm's core objectives over fiscal 21-22 was to maintain an ongoing and open dialogue with the industry. This close and sustained communication enabled Telefilm to better appreciate the financial assistance needs of creators and companies still suffering from the aftermath of the pandemic. Telefilm was also able to complete the modernization of its programs and promote equitable access for all screen-based creators. A proper look back at the 21-22 period wouldn't be complete without mentioning some of the outstanding Canadian films released on our screens. Ivan Grebovich's Les Oiseaux Ivres, produced by Microscope, represented Canada in the race for Best International Feature Film at the 2022 Oscars. Monia Chokri's Babysitter, produced by Amerique Films, was selected at the Sundance Film Festival, as well as presented at the Tribeca Film Festival, in addition to winning the Best Film Award at the Monte Carlo Film Festival. Shasha Nakai and Rich Williamson Scarborough, produced by Compai Films, left a big impression at TIFF by winning an award as well as a special mention. It was also named one of the top 10 Canadian films of 2021 and won 8 Canadian Screen Awards. Parmi les dossiers importants sur lesquels
Among the
le conseil
important issues that
d'administration de
Telefilm's
Téléfilm
Board of
s'est penché
Directors
au cours de
addressed
l'année,
during the year,
je veux souligner
I
l'approbation
would
d'un
like to
nouveau plan
highlight the
stratégique
approval of
court
a new
terme
short-term
pour la
strategic
période
plan for
2022-2024.
2022 to
Ce plan en
2024.
est un de
This
continuité
plan
dans le
is, so to
changement.
speak, one of
Il
continuity and
réitère
change.
et renforce
It
en effet
reiterates and
certaines des
reinforces
priorités
some
déjà
of the
énoncées
priorities
dans le
already
plan
set out in the
précédent,
previous
ce
plan,
qui nous permet de
allowing us
moduler
to
notre appui
adjust
à
our
une industrie
support
qui vit
for an
présentement
industry that is
de
currently
multiples
changing in
transformations.
so many ways.
Francesca Accinelli, directrice générale et chef de la direction intérimaire, fournira davantage de précisions sur ce plan dans quelques minutes. I must emphasize that
Je
the
veux insister
implementation
sur le
of
fait que la
Telefilm's
mise en œuvre
strategic
du plan
plan
stratégique de
and the
Téléfilm
preservation
et
of
le maintien
all
de
of our support
l'ensemble de nos
programs
programmes de financement
require the
requiert le
renewal of the
renouvellement
additional
des
funding
fonds
the government has been
supplémentaires que le
providing to
gouvernement
Telefilm
octroie à
since
Téléfilm depuis
21-22.
2021-2022.
We sincerely
Nous
hope
espérons
that these
vivement
funds
que ces
will be
fonds
made
seront
permanent.
pérennisés.
I would like to conclude by
Je vais
paying
maintenant
tribute to
conclure sur
Krista
l'année qui se
Dickinson,
termine
the
en
previous
rendant hommage à
executive
Krista
director and
Dickinson, qui a
CEO
quitté la
who
direction
left
de
Telefilm in
Téléfilm en
September.
septembre dernier.
With openness, tact, and rigor, Krista brought new life to Telefilm's mission. She passionately supported film creators and artisans and made room for many different voices to be heard. On behalf of the board of directors, I would like to thank her for her dedication to Telefilm and to the film and audiovisual sector. As the recruitment process for the next executive director and CEO follows its course, the board of directors continues to offer its full support to Francesca Accinelli. En terminant, je
In
veux saluer
closing, I
et
would like to
remercier les
acknowledge
membres du
and
conseil
thank the members of the
d'administration
board
pour leur
for their
engagement
ongoing
soutenu et
commitment
leur
and
disponibilité à
availability to
Telefilm.
Telefilm.
Et maintenant,
I would
je cède
now
la
like to
parole à
turn things over
Francesca.
to Francesca Accinelli.
Thank you, Mr. Spickler. Je suis très heureuse d'être ici aujourd'hui en
I'm so
Turin.
happy to be here with you today, surrounded virtually by my colleagues.
I'm a woman in my 50s. I have mid-length curly blonde hair. I'm wearing a bright blue shirt, and I'm seated in my office in Montreal. We're here today to reflect on a year of continued evolution, a new spirit of collaboration at Telefilm and in the industry. We're here to celebrate all we accomplished together and to share the opportunities for us moving forward. I am so proud to be the interim executive director at Telefilm. Ever since I walked through the door 16 years ago, I have loved every minute with this organization. I have an opportunity to go from coast to coast to coast and collaborate with every single one of you. Well, almost. I feel really lucky. I'm also grateful for the support and the confidence entrusted in me by the board of directors led by our chair, Robert Spickler. I'm incredibly proud too of the entire Telefilm team for their boundless passion, their determination, their expertise that they bring every day. And I am remarkably privileged to walk alongside each and every one of you. And to all of you in the industry, our partners and the talent joining us today, welcome. So you'll discover in our 2021-22 annual report that Telefilm demonstrated greater access to our funding programs in both volume and amounts given, our capacity to remain agile and modernize while distributing additional funds during a global pandemic, a strengthening of teams to better meet the needs of the industry, our services, and to better reflect the diversity in our country, a prioritization of the promotion of Canadian talent and content, and we highlighted the important work we do administering the Canada Media Fund programs. We recognize the fragility of the film industry, and we focused our efforts to encourage stability, training, export, and of course, discoverability. We again acknowledge the timely and important additional funds the Government of Canada and the Department of Canadian Heritage offered us. We will also touch on where we're going to go from here to further our mission, supporting promotion, distribution, and production for our screen-based industry. Oui, les choses se sont vraiment améliorées et le moment est
Yes,
propice.
things have certainly improved, and now is an opportune moment to reflect. We found success in collaboration in creating common objectives, and I believe we have built the foundations to be more thoughtful as an industry when it comes to climate, social, and economic impacts. Here at Telefilm, we advanced our EDI action plan with data collection as a priority. We continue to consult industry partners through conversations and surveys, adjust our processes toward greater access and transparency, and be more available to connect with clients. We started the work on the next phase of our action plan, which Kathy will share shortly. We know that a more representative film industry starts with creating a variety of access for equity-seeking communities. These stories, your stories, make Canada unique in the world. We can and should be a force to be reckoned with on the global stage. Earlier this year, Telefilm launched its first eco-responsibility action plan to reduce greenhouse gas emission. That's why we are aiming to achieve net zero by 2050. We are grateful to have an Indigenous perspective woven into our action plan, building on their teachings that story, land, and languages are fundamentally interconnected. We are leading by example, such as greening our festival pavilions. And we're learning more about how we can all contribute. The good news is that a resounding majority of our industry workers from a recent survey of 400 participants thinks it important that their workplaces incorporate sustainable and green production practices. We are on the right track.
Here, stories are at the center of what we fund. With nearly 380 projects funded under our development and production programs, we are pleased to spotlight some wonderful successes. A young drag queen reeling from a breakup escapes to Prince Edward County to find his grandmother in desperate circumstances in Phil Condell's breathtaking Jump Darling. The film was selected by BFI Flair London LGBTQ Film Festival for its international premiere. Brenton Hannum's Wild Hood, about a two-spirited teenager, Mi'kmaq, debuted at the Toronto International Film Festival and received 6 Canadian Screen Award nominations. Louis Morissette's Le Guide de la Famille Parfaite was a hit in Canada, surpassing $2 million in box office, and now is available internationally on Netflix. We know the feature films of tomorrow will need a strong and vibrant pipeline of talented filmmakers and creators to keep Canadians coming back to theaters and watching Canadian films wherever they're available. It goes without saying, Canadian creators make incredible content. We need to do a better job ensuring people find and connect with that content. It means investing in discoverability and in export. The recovery and relaunch funds from the government allowed us to provide timely top-ups to cinemas and festivals, both of which are vital in the journey of a filmmaker and the film itself. We also partnered with major streaming platforms like Apple TV, Crave, Netflix, CBC Gem, and Cineplex to help Canadian feature content, help people find Canadian content as they scroll through their favorite apps. We created podcasts in French and English, providing Canadians with amazing insights into our talent. We need to meet Canadians where they are, or more specifically, the screens where they are. Wherever the film is being played, we will work with partners to ensure those films are seen. L'an dernier, Telefilm a créé une initiative de numérisation appelée.
Just last year, Telefilm, along with festival partners, led a digital initiative called Canada Cinema Reignited. This ongoing project brings and restores important films in the Canadian feature film ecosystem to on-demand platforms, as well as on the big screen. Telefilm also contributed to rebuild our international pavilions with the return to MIPCOM in 2021. We commenced the modernization of our international programs. Export provides another moment for our industry to partner, collaborate with a common goal of showcasing our incredible stories and diverse talent from all over Canada. We are always better and more impactful together.
Earlier this year, we set the stage with our 2022 to 24 strategic plan. We shared with you our values: integrity, courage, respect, competence, and accountability. And those helped us outline our 3 key priorities. Number 1, continue to support a sustainable and inclusive audiovisual ecosystem. That is everything from reaching parity in projects we fund to now focusing our efforts in increasing applications from many communities while working in partnership with the Indigenous Screen Office, the Black Screen Office, the Racial Equity Screen Office, and the Disability Screen Office, amongst so many others. 2, we use our internal expertise better. Among our staff, we have a wealth of industry experience, linguistic and cultural diversity, and lived experiences. We have the know-how to find faster, better, and more inclusive ways of getting projects off the ground and onto people's screens. Last but not least, attract new funding sources. We are proven stewards of public and private funds, and we know how to make every dollar go further with the help of our outstanding team. A great example is the Talent Fund, a national donation initiative dedicated to the impact and longevity of first-time filmmakers. Marking its 10th anniversary, the Talent Fund has launched the careers of over 360 filmmakers with 165 films that have won almost 180 awards. At this time, we are emerging from trying times, and the industry is set for healthy growth. Quelle est la suite des choses? Comment nous
What's
préparer?
next? How can we be prepared and responsive to the current environment? Rising inflation, labor shortages, and interest rates are putting increased pressure on what is not only a fragile recovery for our industry, but for everyone, for all Canadians. Our country is having a very important conversation around Bill C-11 when the time comes to modernize the definition of Canadian content. Telefilm intends to offer its full cooperation to the government. We need to strengthen accessibility and discoverability and provide the necessary financial mechanisms to ensure that Canadian creators continue to thrive. And we must protect our Canadian IP. And as well, the return to cinemas raises
for all voices and implement a change to protect our planet. To say a few words, merci.
Merci, Francesca.
Merci.
Merci, Francesca. Bonjour à tous et à toutes. Moi aussi, je suis très heureux de vous retrouver aujourd'hui. Tout d'abord, permettez-moi à mon tour de me décrire. Je suis un homme gay blanc. Si je me fie au dictionnaire, je suis encore dans la force de l'âge. J'ai les yeux bleus, les cheveux châtains et j'ai une barbe grisonnante. Je porte des lunettes. Au cours de l'année financière 2021-2022, nous avons poursuivi la modernisation de Téléfilm. Je dirais même que nous sommes passés à la vitesse grand V. Comme vous le savez sans doute, Telefilm Canada a tenu en fait des consultations pan-canadiennes auprès de l'industrie en 2020-2021, qui ont connu d'ailleurs une grande participation. Ces consultations nous ont incité à mettre en œuvre des mesures pour favoriser une industrie qui va refléter davantage d'équité, de diversité et d'inclusion. And so we initiated our funding program modernization, and we reviewed and improved our decision-making processes. Through all the changes we made to the different funding programs, we put a great deal of effort into eliminating obstacles and improving access for filmmakers traditionally disadvantaged by the systemic barriers of our industry. To better mirror Canadian society and to be as transparent as possible, we established advisory committees composed of external and internal representatives whose mandate is to assess submitted projects and make recommendations to us. Our decision-making process contributes to our goal of fostering a diversity of voices in the industry. We aim to fund a balanced portfolio of production that invests in a variety of genres, budgets, and company sizes that reflects various perspectives and stories from all regions of the country. During the year, we also launched a new data collection process. The purpose of this data collection is, on the one hand, to help us know our partners better. That's important. And on the other hand, identify our blind spots and track progress going forward. Furthermore, we funded additional mentoring and training initiatives, and we organized targeted webinars to encourage better representation within our programs. There's still a lot more work to do. We've made progress in recent years. More women now hold key creative positions in projects funded by Telefilm. Indeed, we're very pleased that in 21-22, production funding was at a 5-year high for women directors and screenwriters, and at its highest since 2018-19 for women producers. Films directed, written, or produced by women accounted for 45% of all films funded this year by Telefilm. We also continued our efforts to stimulate Indigenous production with the support of people like our colleague, Adriana Chartrand, who led the Telefilm's Indigenous initiatives. Lastly, our development stream for Black and people of color give those communities increased access to our programs, and we want to support Black filmmakers and filmmakers of color at every stage of their profession, whether they're emerging, established, or mid-career. Encore une fois, la production francophone a continué de briller. La demande est forte et les succès récoltés montrent bien que les projets qui nous sont présentés sont bien ficelés. Nous poursuivons le dialogue avec différentes associations de l'industrie, tout comme avec des groupes de travail provenant des communautés autochtones et des groupes sous-représentés, parce que notre expérience prouve bien que la collaboration avec l'industrie demeure la pierre angulaire de tout ce processus de modernisation. Pour terminer, je suis très reconnaissant envers notre personnel. Nos équipes sont mobilisées, que ce soit les équipes qui conçoivent et livrent les programmes de téléfilm ou encore celles qui administrent les programmes du Fonds
Administer the Canada Media Funds programs. Our employees and managers have shown agility and resilience in achieving our goals, and that's a credit to them. Thank you for your attention. I now turn the floor over to my colleague Marie-Ève Mainville, VP Talent and Culture. Thank you, René. Good afternoon, everyone. For the benefit of the visually impaired, I am a white woman with brown hair. To the shoulder, I'm wearing a black turtleneck. I'm sitting at my desk at Telefilm in Montreal. I'm very happy to be here today. It was important that I speak to you at our annual public assembly because we want to recognize the vital contribution of Telefilm's personnel and highlight the important modernization of our institution. Yet again, this year, the pandemic has had a profound impact on the audiovisual industry, with a significant impact on the organization of work in our institution. On top of this challenge, there are also issues that have affected the entire ecosystem of work. I would therefore like to commend all Telefilm team members for their incredible work throughout the year. Thanks to their agility, adaptability, and collaboration with the industry, we were able to achieve several objectives of which we are very proud.
Earlier, with one of its focus areas being one elevating our internal expertise and optimizing our operational capacity. The health and well-being of Telefilm staff is the top priority for us. Their expertise has been put to great use. What's more, operational emergencies and additional funding have increased workload. As such, we have expanded our efforts to provide them with the necessary support and resources. From health and wellness tools on the intranet to adapted computer equipment, we have given our teams the means to work optimally and progress continues. In addition, we have completely revamped the performance management program to further support development and have placed an emphasis on flexibility and productivity to encourage work-life balance. The update of our organization's policy is part of Telefilm's commitment to collaboration, equity, inclusion, and diversity for all its staff members. Our compensation structure has also been revised to better reflect job market, encourage team contribution, and maintain fairness and equity. As Telefilm continues to evolve, we made major changes to improve our onboarding process with the intention of enhancing the experience of new staff members. With the collaboration of all internal sectors, we have updated our policies and processes with the aspiration of fulfilling the mandate to modernize Telefilm. Comme cela a déjà été mentionné par mes collègues,
as my colleagues have already mentioned, collaboration with the industry has been crucial in this past year. That's why, in addition to our internal modernization efforts, we've made sure that our values and processes are reflected externally as well. We have also introduced a code of conduct for our business partners. This is in keeping with Telefilm's desire to support a healthy ecosystem that thrives in a culture of mutual respect dignity, and inclusiveness, free of all forms of harassment, discrimination, and violence. In light of all these initiatives, we can say that Telefilm has not only become a partner of choice, but also an employer of choice. Thank you for your time. I would now like to turn the floor over to my colleague, Kathy Wong, VP, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, and Official Languages.
Merci beaucoup, Marie-Ève. Hi, everyone.
Thank you
Bonjour.
so much, Maria.
Donc, pour nos participants qui ne peuvent pas me voir,
For attendees that cannot see me, I'm Kathy Wong. I'm at my office in Montreal. I am an Asian descent woman, black hair, and I'm wearing a pink jacket. It has been just over 1 year since I joined the team at Telefilm Canada, and this past year has been a busy one, and I had the pleasure of meeting many members and groups within our communities, equity-seeking community across the country, and we have heard their concerns, their needs, while working together to find solutions or ways that Telefilm can help create a more equitable and inclusive audiovisual industry. Telefilm has taken steps to build greater equity in its programs and ensure greater inclusion. While we still have much work to do, I'd like to share some highlights from the last year. For example, as mentioned by René earlier, this was the first year for Telefilm's new self-identification questionnaire, as was used as part of several of our portfolio programs. Progress is being made in collecting this data that we need to better support our clients and their film projects, but as well the audio-visual industry overall. Telefilm is also proud to support valuable research, such as the Black Screen Office's Being Seen series and the Racial Equity Media and Collectives Mapping Canada's Black Person of Color Indigenous People Screen sector, among others. We've also better supported more than 25 festivals whose focus are on diversity and inclusion. We've held on our commitment to supporting gender parity. Moving forward, we must further our progress by including a more intersectional approach to better support gender diverse individuals, as well as Indigenous women and Black and women of color and women living with disabilities. We've begun to lay the foundations for best practices regarding authentic storytelling. An industry survey was completed with the industry at the end of the summer, and we have been reviewing over 150 recommendations from industry organizations, guilds, equity-seeking groups, and individual members of our audiovisual community. We will next be forming a subcommittee composed of individuals and organizations who participated in the survey, and they will help us as we take our next steps. These are just some highlights, and the work must continue.
In our next step, Telefilm will be releasing its 2022-2024 Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Action Plan this afternoon. Our new plan represents 4 strong pillars with 25 interconnected engagements developed in collaboration with all departments at Telefilm. Our new action plan's 4 pillars and 25 engagements build on progress that has been made. It integrates new KPIs and initiatives across Telefilm's funding portfolios and promotional activities to IT and communications, as well as human resources, legal, and finance. Pillar 1 of the action plan will strengthen Telefilm Canada's inclusive culture through greater equity in access to all programs and a representative portfolio. Pillar 2 focuses on expanding EDI-informed decision-making based on data and industry knowledge. In Pillar 3, we will use our position as a public agency to uplift, amplify, and empower communities as an ally of choice to the industry. Lastly, as our 4th pillar, we will support a stronger sense of belonging at Telefilm Canada through leadership accountability. As a Crown corporation, Telefilm Canada has made it a key goal to work collaboratively with our industry partners to eliminate the racism, discrimination, and oppression that exists within the industry. Creating a space for open discussion, learning, and growth is vital as we continue to work towards that goal. The new action plan represents Telefilm's next chapter. I invite you to read the action plan in full once it is available on our website following this meeting. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much.
Merci, Cathy. Nous allons maintenant débuter la période des questions. Merci d'utiliser
We are
l'option
now
de
going to
clarifier
start the question period. Please use the chat function to send us a question. We had given the possibility
Donc, alors, je vais débuter avec une première question que nous avons reçue du public.
before, so I will start with the first question. A
Fran.
question for Fran. Fran, in the interim period, is the modernization of Telefilm, is it going to slow down? Thank you for the question. For us, the key word is continuity. Yes, maybe we will slow down the great changes to allow for the evaluation of the impact.
Les impacts, il faut juste évoluer, changer.
Because with the changes, we have to evolve and address ourselves. And I think that we have done a lot collaborating all together. I'm thinking, for example, of the different aspect or even the data collecting, what we've done with you. It is what my colleagues have been doing and we're continuing. Our strategic plan, as well as our corporate plan, are good guides for us and for you.
Merci, Fran.
Thank you, Fran.
J'ai une autre question. Je sais pas à qui elle
I have another
s'adresse.
question. I don't know who it would be for. Maybe
À René, peut-être?
René.
Telefilm open a new
Will
program to support short films?
Merci pour la question. Thank you for the question. This is a conversation we're actually having with the industry through our various interaction. It's not clear yet if we will have a production program to support short films, but we continue to support short films through various avenues already with industry and festival partners, through our national and international activities under the promotion program. We contribute to the development and promotion of Canadian short films at various festivals and markets, and as well with mentorship and training programs.
Thank you, René. I have another question from the public that we just received. It's, I will appreciate if anyone could share details of what Telefilm Canada stands for, most importantly, for how to be a part of as a foreigner living outside of Canada. Who can answer that?
Maybe I can take part of it. I would actually ask this person to connect with us directly. That's quite a complex question, and it has many different answers to it. So if I might say, please connect directly with us and we'll help explore if we can find a solution for you. Thank you so much for the question.
Thank you, Fran. I have another question, which is in two parts. So I'll try to be, I'll go very slow. What is Telefilm's plan when the additional government funding of 105 million over the course of 3 years end in 2024? That's the first part of the question. And the second part of the question is, how were those funds dispersed?
Well, maybe I can take the first part, and I can be supported by my colleagues. So Telefilm, as it was very clear in our corporate plan, Telefilm is working with our government partners to secure the additional $50 million on $50 million. I said it right, $50 million per year on an ongoing basis. And I can confirm that I really believe our colleagues in government understand the importance and the amazing impact that these funds have had. And I wonder, maybe it's a combination of René and I think if I put my old hat on, René is under the promotion program. I think the funds, we distributed between the two of us, but perhaps
Yes.
maybe you can address it a bit more.
Yes, there's no surprise. I think the intention of these funds were to support more production and development programs, but also making sure that these films that we're investing in are reaching audiences. So between production development, top-ups also. You heard Fran mention the increasing costs, inflation, scarcity of crews. So we have to plan for increased costs with that regards, but also national film festivals, promotional programs, as they all have been adapting to the new reality of the post-pandemic.
And maybe I'll just add, I think what I really appreciate with the staff is we really work in continuity with all of our programs. Again, it's a place where we look at where are the needs most required, that we can get money out quickly in certain circumstances. Where can we create new initiatives to better help the industry during that year? So I think throughout all of our speeches today, you've heard we're trying to really remain agile. We're trying to remain responsive. And at the same time, we want to make sure that we're investing better with all of you, because as Renée said, we really appreciate the impacts that exist in your lives and in the world right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Fran, and thank you, Renée. We just received a question from Susan Aiskov. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce your name correctly. And the question is, hi, Fran, great idea to use the inner knowledge. How do you plan to bridge this missing link?
Hi, Suzanne. I think you're meaning our internal expertise. I think already just our approach to building the corporate plan that you see before you, we really, under Krista, changed our tactic and brought more of the mid-level and senior directors to come into the room with us, so that every initiative that you see in that corporate plan was something that came from so many of them. It was addressing the conversations they had with many of you and your preoccupations. And it came from us in terms of our conversations with our other industry and government partners, as well as our international partners. So I think, yes, I think we're trying to demonstrate to all of you, maybe more effectively, that we actually talk a lot internally. We share resources, we share approaches, always at the betterment of our programs and the service we do. Suzanne, I don't know if I addressed it fully, but you know how to find me if I can be maybe more articulate about answering you next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Fran, and thank you, Suzanne, for the question. Another question is, as it was mentioned, Telefilm is working to protect Canadian IP. Can you get into the specifics of what Telefilm is doing to protect Canadian IP?
Wait, did you throw, who is that for? Renée, right?
I don't know. Maybe it's for Fran, or for you, Fran, or for Renée. I don't know.
I can answer.
You can go ahead, please, Renée.
Yes, so it's at the center of everything we do, encouraging the development of intellectual property in Canada by producers here. So our various programs are encouraging that through a system of points. And I think it is at the foundation of what Telefilm does. It's part of our mandate and our raison d'être to encourage stories that reflect our identities here in Canada. And the best way to do that is to make sure that these stories are and the intellectual properties are Canadian.
Thank you, Renée. And I have another question for you, I guess.
Yes.
How much Canadian cultural content needs to be attained if there is a project that is being led by a foreign country, as in 50%?
Well, no, actually, it's a little more complicated than that. If it's a co-production led by another country, we have treaties with, I think, 59 countries. I invite the person who asked the question to go on our website. We have a dedicated section on co-production. We even have a co-production 101. And if the treaty can be applied, and if the project qualifies for one of our co-production treaties, then there are ways to recognize this as Canadian content. But it has to be under a treaty if it's a majority co-production with another country.
Thank you, René. Merci. Another question for you, René. You're very popular today. How is Telefilm ensuring better regional representation, beyond Ontario and Quebec? You're
René,
mute,
you're on
René.
mute.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not used to back-to-back question. I was saying we really want to encourage more applicants outside of Ontario and Quebec. This is always on our radar. Some recent successes, by the way, from Western regions, I can think of Rise Boy Sleeps, directed by Anthony Shim, or Golden Delicious, directed by Jason Carmen, with national accolades at major festivals. So it's on our radar, and we have our regional feature film executives that are also making this a priority.
Thank you, René. Another question, and I guess it's again for you. Le taux de refus est assez élevé. Comment
The refusal rate is quite high. How can Telefilm ensure an equitable access to new filmmakers and established filmmakers? You are right. We receive a very high volume of applications to all our programs. I would answer in three parts. To ensure equitable access to all filmmakers, we've been organizing for many years now webinars for each of the programs before they open. Our teams as well continue to participate in panels from the industry and festivals and various markets to answer questions of people and contribute to make our processes and programs more transparent and more accessible. And thirdly, we also have dedicated streams to have access to our programs for Black creators, color creators, and Indigenous creators. And this is bearing fruit, and we are confident that these streams will allow the development of even more competitive projects, and will have even more opportunities to see positive effects with production over the years. I believe that it reflects the importance of data and collection we talked about earlier. With these data, we will be able to measure this progress and we'll be able to report on these.
Merci, René.
Thank you, René. Another question. This one is for Fran. What is Telefilm doing to help theatrical exhibition and distribution that have trouble going back to their pre-pandemic levels? Good question. I'll be wearing my discoverability hat. I think that there are two paths here. One towards the consumer with programs that support festivals and theaters, and as well the other axis is more with René's team. How do we support the work with the broadcasters? It's more B2B, and thanks to funds we received by the government, I think that we had top-ups to help them to make sure that our films, that Canadian films, have access on screens in festivals. As I've said earlier, the theaters and festivals play a very important role in the career of a director and in their films as well. Thank you so much, Fran, for this lengthy reply. I see that there are no more questions.
For attending Telefilm's 2021-2022 Annual Public Assembly. Merci à tous et à toutes de votre présence en ligne.
Thank you all for coming online today. Thank you also to Robert Spiegler, Francesca Cinelli, René Bourdage, Marie-Ève Mainville, and Cathy Wong, as well as the French, English, and sign language interpreters.
All my colleagues who help us organize today's presentation, as well as Luana Harper's shirt for offering a blessing. Enjoy the rest of your day. Merci et à la prochaine.
Thank you, and until next time.